How's everybody doing? Good, it's a beautiful day out there.
They're actually doing a wheel landing on the wheel at Crossway.
I just saw this.
Just because you kind of see the ground, so just the corner of your eye.
Okay, so what do I need to do to?
I was better doing one day landings with the champ now was said. Actually, it's small.
Yes. I'll do that, yeah.
Better than mine. Yeah, that's better than my Google Lens.
Thank you, yeah.
When the cold, feel the tail dragger didn't come out of the factory that
In
way.
the past, I've noticed that
Thank you. My name is Tom Reed, and I am the chair of this venerable committee. Let's do a roll call. Gary List. Present. Thank you. Chuck McGill. Janie Tolwich. Ron Lee. Thank you. Rich Martindale.
Here.
Thank you, Rich. Dave Gordon. Here. Thanks. Tom Ricotta.
Here.
Thank you. Richard Ron, not here yet. Jake Branson, not here yet.
You said it's been.
Okay, so I'm sure they will be. Also attending this meeting is Jorge Rubio, Deputy Director of the Airport, and members of his fine staff. This is the part I have to read every single time. If you are in person, please complete a speaker slip located at the entrance of the southwest entrance and provide it to Mr. Reed in a timely manner to ensure proper meeting management. In-person testimony will conclude before virtual testimony begins. Members of the public can also join the webinar by computer, tablet, or smartphone by accessing the link, which is listed online in the preamble language of the agenda. If you need to participate by telephone, you may dial 1-669-254-5252 and plug in webinar ID 161-963-9795. This information is also available on the agenda. It's also available online. Please note that if you're watching via online, there may be a delay. Please participate via the audio on your phone and mute your TV or computer when it is your turn to speak. If you wish to speak on a particular item, wait for that item to be called and then raise your hand to speak by tapping the raise your hand icon. Or if you are a call-in participant, *9 on your cell phone or landline. If you raise your hand during a non-comment period, your hand will be lowered gently. A quorum is now present. We are agenda item number 3, non-agenda public comment. Do we have any?
Just a second to check. I'm just having a few issues with Zoom. My tools aren't showing up.
Non-agenda public comments, an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items that are not on the agenda, but within the subject matter jurisdiction of this committee. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. Public comment period for non-agenda public comment is now open. Is there anybody that has anything to say? Welcome, Richard. No,
Don't have anyone raising their hand online.
Fantastic. Okay. Let's see. We are now at the approval of minutes. Item number 4 on the agenda is September 13, 2023 minutes. Everybody have an opportunity to read through them. Chuck, did you find a change?
Just a minor correction, the dollar cost, so it's for the writing on the orders 95, not 85.
Dang. But it says right here, 85. Oh, that's an adult.
Yeah.
Yes.
The numbers are 85, non-numbers
Of EAA.
EAA numbers.
I'm an EA. Sorry,
So it's 85.
okay, thank you very much for clarifying that. Mr. McGill, do we have any public comment for the agenda? So if there's no further discussion on that, let's take a vote to approve the agenda as corrected. All in favor? And we got the count. All opposed? And all abstaining. Okay, that motion passes.
So was it a motion in a second?
Oh, somebody moved.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, and then those votes, you want to do it again? Let's see. All in favor?
Thank you.
All opposed? All abstained? Technicalities. Technicalities. Oh, I'm just not good at bureaucracy stuff. Okay, item number 5 is unfinished business, and there is no unfinished business, so we will move on to item number 6, which is new business. And that is, per our meeting last time, we were going to advise the staff to reconsider the relocation of United Airlines terminal and hangar from San Diego International Airport to Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport. Director Rubio, would you like to comment on that?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I do have a few slides to give you some background on the United Airlines terminal hangar. A few years ago in 2021, we were actually approached by Crown Air, and we were asked to submit a letter of support because the United Airlines terminal hangar at San Diego International was being decommissioned, and it was going to be moving somewhere else on the field, and they felt that there was an opportunity to bring it here to where the new development, the executive park is. And the transaction was supposed to be directly from San Diego International Airport to Crown Air. And we did provide a letter of support for the transaction to take place. Now, we did have a couple of questions before we drafted that letter, before we provided it. And the questions that you see are the 4 boxes at the bottom. The first one is, will the hangar satisfy the requirements with lease requirements with Crown Air? There were a couple of questions there that we had, and we're looking to work those out. We also looked at what would the hangar be used for. The hangar was being used as storage where it was at San Diego International, and obviously Crown Air was looking to use it for storing some aircraft, but also for holding some events. And the question came to us: would the city be willing to maintain the hangar long term, meaning at the end of the term? And that was a question that we also asked ourselves, but we needed to get clarification, with other parties as well. And we were thinking about what approvals would be necessary for that to happen. Would there be a lease amendment? Would there be any environmental concerns? Would there be any type of approvals that we would need for the relocation? David, if you don't mind moving to the next one. So after we provided the letter of support, trying to work these things out, we held meetings with the San Diego Airport International staff. We actually had Zoom meetings, we had Teams meetings. They came out to the airport to take a look at the proposed location, which is the triangle just north of where the building is over there, in that grass area. And they had questions, obviously, and they were thinking that it might be a possibility. But the conversation continued. There were a lot of questions that we needed to look at. The thing with this hangar is because San Diego International is having their new T1 project going on, this hangar needed to be relocated, and it was considered a historic hangar. So it is a historic hangar under CEQA, and under CEQA, this hangar would need to be maintained long term at whatever it ended up being. One of the conditions that San Diego International at that point made to us is, hey, we cannot give this hangar to Crown Air. So the game changed. They said it needs to be from a public entity to another public entity because of CEQA. And CEQA, they want to maintain that hangar in perpetuity. So it became an issue. And we continued to have conversations to see if we would be able to make it happen. We were very open to it. So we looked at the CEQA timelines. San Diego International, they were actually in the process of dismantling the hangar at around that time. And they needed to find a home for it in order to meet the CEQA timelines to put it up on a location at the airport. So if we wanted to bring it over, then what we would need to do is we will need to figure out our CEQA timelines because even though it's a part of that project, at the airport, it's another project. It's we're putting a new building on site. So we'll need to do CEQA. We'll need to talk to the FAA. We'll need to do NEPA, which is the National Environmental Protection Agency. As you know, there's another lessee that is going through a project, Corporate Helicopters, and it's taking them about 2 years to go through that process, and it's not finalized yet. For San Diego Air Park and Brownfield, it took many years. So it was definitely not going to meet those timelines. And we also checked with what is called the FAA Section 163. That's a new section that tries to determine if the object is going to be affecting any type of operation at the airport. So that's another determination the FAA needed to do. But again, at the time, the hangar was being dismantled, and they were looking to store it until a site was ready for it. But if a site was not ready for it, according to their timelines, they were going to be moving forward. David? So at that time, we had conversations with Crown Air about the potential implications, and the item basically died for quite some time. Now, later on, we were approached by a member of the public that wanted to bring the hangar over, and we learned at that point that there was a historic aircraft that was looking to be stored here. So we were open to the conversation. We were still trying to figure out how to get it here. Now, we also were trying to see what the CEQA timelines were, what San Diego International was looking to do at that specific timeline. And they still mentioned that they wanted to move forward with the project, probably putting it on site. But we decided to relate the concerns to the member of the public. One of the issues that came to mind is, remember I mentioned the lease? So initially, if the hangar was going to be going to Crown Air would get the hangar. And then we basically will approve it. There will probably be some sort of credit for the capital improvement that is required in the lease. But that lease will need to go in front of city council because there's some language in the lease at that moment, it is still now, that said the city keeps the right to have Crown Air remove the facilities at the end of the term. So now with this being historic, it will definitely change it. And whatever location it stayed, it was basically going to stay in perpetuity there. So it became a concern as to the future planning of the airport. We thought that today may be a great idea, but we don't know where it was going to be moving in the future, if it was ever going to be moving somewhere else. Thinking long term. As far as fair market value, that's a concern that this city and San Diego International share, because they cannot give the hangar to a private entity. We could not give the hangar to a private entity at no cost, because it's basically a gift of public funds, the perception of a gift of public funds. So there will need to have been an appraisal, and there will have need to be a value for that. So we would have either need to lease the hangar to Crown Air, and then later on figure out what we wanted to do with it at the end of the term. As far as the use, at the last meeting, there were questions about hosting an event inside the hangar. The way that the hangar was looking to come over to the airport was in a shell condition. So it was going to be used for storage of aircraft. Assembly uses were not going to be allowed unless there was significant investment into the hangar, because it needed to have fire sprinklers, we need to have potentially fire exits, and that would basically allow for the hangar to be used by people for assembly uses. So that was another concern. And the next one, again, CEQA and NEPA responsibilities, who handles what? We talked about the credit for the capital improvements. We wouldn't be able to be providing credit, but actually we will potentially need to lease that hangar to the private entity. We talked about the lease amendments. But then something that came to mind, and this is when I came to the city. I came to Montgomery Gibbs, and one of the things that I think is very, very cool, very nice, is the Spiders hangar at the west end of the field. If you drive there, that hangar is a historic hangar. At the moment, we are working with the lessee, trying to make improvements to it, but it is deteriorating. And for us, it's not the only hangar that's deteriorated at our airports. At Brownfield, we have over 3 buildings that are all in basically non-occupiable status. So there's a lot of need for those, and I would necessarily hate to see a good building come over and end up in the future in a similar condition as that. So that gives you a picture of the many conversations we've had. I know that San Diego International and the city, a long time ago, we've said, hey, they decided we want to move forward, and we said, well, we respect that, move forward. And where we are today is, and I have conversations with San Diego International, is if you see that yellow star, that's where the hangar was originally located, on the east end by Pacific Highway and West Palm. The location where it was dismantled, close to The other terminal, the transit terminal, is the red spot right in the middle. I don't know if you can point it or not. I see it. But as of August of 2023, they have a project that has started and they're rebuilding the terminal, basically where the yellow star is or the blue star is. So the hangar is basically going back on where it has started initially. So it's in construction. Now you understand where we came from. I don't think it's reasonable for us to ask them to stop the construction already. But that's for this is valid to determine if, you would like for us to continue to look into it, but I don't really see this moving anywhere.
Just so I completely understand, after all of that, they're gonna rebuild it back down at Lindbergh?
Yes,
Then what's the question for the committee?
it was asked at the last meeting, so
Was that known at the last
providing
meeting, or is that new information?
that's
So we don't really have, I mean, they're already rebuilding it, there's nothing for us to really do.
they're rebuilding it.
What are they using it for?
Except for storage, it's going to be on the non-aviation side, the same as it was before normally. I don't necessarily know the specific use that they're going to be using, putting in there.
They probably have the same restrictions on using it only for storage that we would have, where they have to do massive internal improvements with fire suppression, fire escapes, upgrading an earthquake, blah, 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 if they were anything other than just aircraft.
I don't see any action for us to take if they're already rebuilding. We didn't know that the last time.
You know what we should do? We should build our own brand new one that looks just like it. The Predator will, yeah.
When we say it's under construction, I think it's under secret review. They haven't turned it, I don't think they've turned it or anything. I think they're just starting the process that we would have been doing here. It's very much in the infancy of construction, right? I don't think it's still in storage, but they have to go through all the hurdles that we talked about here, they have to do down there, so I think the only issue for me is it was kind of this amazing asset that we donated and rebuilt to new condition, basically, an old building, so it can last for a long time, compared to spiders or some of these old buildings. I mean, it may be too late, but if it's not, then they can stop their secret process and get started here, and they would give an extension. That's why I think comment would be on the agenda, that if there's any chance, I think that's why Kent brought it up.
And well, one of the things that I heard was that it has to be done by another public agency. Is that sort of situation?
Correct.
So
The title, what's the question?
it has to be done by another municipality or like, it can't be done by a private entity. It has to be done by a government agency.
There's a budget in the Terminal 1 expansion to take care of the disassembly, move, and reassemble. So there's no cost.
Totally understand all that. But past that point, the in perpetuity part is that who has to be in control of that, another city agency?
I think what Jorge says, the ownership has to pass from.
Right, so
They can still have a grantor taking care of it or something like that.
simplify it, the title of their fee or whatever you call something like that, is in Port San Diego now, right? And if they change the title, it would have to be City of San Diego. They can't be a Crown.
Right. I mean, if Crown Air wants to try and do all that stuff, I'll support Crown Air doing that, but if it's just too much of an undertaking for the city to do it, I say just let it lie, but I'm open either way.
I think the city just killed it. I mean, at one point it was ready to go, and then the city came up with these objections that are the same objections that would happen anywhere. Right, if we build a new hangar over here, we have to do all the things that do that.
Totally get that, but I mean, does Crown Air want to pursue it?
Well, if it's available, I mean, this was something that a year ago never should have been shot down in my mind.
No, I get
But
that.
now that if it's possible to resurrect it, then of course, yeah, I think it would change this airport.
Well, so if Crown Air wants to run with it, I'll support it.
But
Running with
But
it.
what it's running with, I mean, it's got the city would be the first one to have to say, we've now reversed, we're not gonna put up a bunch of projections, we're gonna actually keep behind. Right, because they would have to accept the asset, and then we would have to lease it from them, or pay, it'd be part of our ground.
I think the next step, if we wanna keep pushing on this, in spite of what Director Rubio said, is that we need to find out who the people are. The City of San Diego was specifically said no, because there's somebody that's saying, no, we don't want to do this, it's too much.
It's the city attorney's office.
Is it the
These
city attorney's
objections
office?
were, and I don't know who in the city attorney's office has the authority to make a business decision. In my mind, they should assess the risk, give it to the airport should, yeah, we can do that. Every building on the field will eventually be the airport's to give it, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of.
Why don't we make just this committee can make a recommendation that it's possible to restart this process, the committee supports, so. Something like that. So.
My request for this body, and that is, at the moment the city is given a red light to move. Rather than this group get involved and worry and everything else about the move, if the city would just give a green light to it. Say, okay, come on down, if you guys want to move the hangar, and I know this, because I've had a lot of conversations with the airport authority. They wanted to move it. Whether it's too late now, that's an issue. But I still think it's possible. And if everybody thinks about the benefits of this field and to the community at large, to have this iconic hangar, I would, people still have their picture. I've got pictures to remind people what it's like. From last, I mean, I have pictures, if they need one, want one to review their memory. It is an iconic structure. It can be, there's a location for it on Crown Air's lease, or it be seen by the public, it's on the entry or something, John B. Montgomery, if you come into the airport. It would house vintage airplanes, flying vintage airplanes, instead of being the last 70 years, it's been a fuel barn. Or one of the refueling operations in the number of field. What hasn't seen its design activity in 70 years. That could change. The people that see it, see vintage airplanes in the hangar, and as well as they were credit for public events, dinners, bar mitzvahs, weddings, etc. And as far as who said no, and Jorge gave us a bunch of rules, like a bunch of excuses or reasons, as stated, found it all valid as to why it shouldn't come here. But the meeting between the airport authority and the city of San Diego, the city of San Diego directed that meeting was Jorge. And this restore or maintain in perpetuity. I've read all the EIR documents, everything that has to do with this hangar. And there is nothing in there that talks about in perpetuity. It talks about it can't be torn down, it needs to be moved and not thrown into the landfill. So what is its final destination? He was going to go to Miramar, they wanted to do that. That died because the Supreme Court decided not to do a museum anymore. And it was open to go to, I talked to the Aerospace Museum. In the beginning, they were happy to have it over there on their property, but then it was the setbacks required by the runway and taxiways wouldn't allow them to. I checked the brownfield, wasn't possible there. Crown Air stepped up and said, yes, have it on their property. And to me, what's interesting is in their lease, they are required within 10 years to have a big hangar put on their lease. So I just find it difficult to understand when we say maintain in perpetuity. The first question that comes to my mind is, who's going to maintain San Diego in perpetuity? If you look at the seismic maps of downtown San Diego, you might not want to live in a high-rise building. So Then we talk about global warming, then Birdfield may be underwater, that's true. So anyway, my request is that this body recommend the city give it a green light and see what happens. That's not. So I'm requiring the city something to that.
Very clearly, it's just.
The committee recommends that the city support moving the hangar to Montgomery if possible.
And does that need to be in a form of a motion?
It needs to be a motion.
I make a motion.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Jorge, this would have to be approved by the city council, is that correct?
So our purpose is to advise the city on things that come here first, that they don't want to mess around with. Anything big goes directly to the city council. This would be something that would go to the city council. Remember, we're all volunteers. We don't know anything about how the city works. We spend 1 hour or 2 hours a month in this thing. We don't get paid. We don't have any power. We don't have any authority. We do this so they can check a box that says they're doing 45 things. So hopefully we get a little bit done in the right direction. To make suggestions in the right thing. I mean, what can I do? So let's recommend.
Yes. Let's remember that we are advising the mayor, not the city council.
Thank you. We are.
So if you would put that in his motion, amend it,
I
so that it
accept the
follows
amendment.
the appropriate track that it needs to. We need to have the mayor and his staff go to the city council.
Okay, so let's repeat the motion.
We recommend that the airport advisory council recommends that the mayor pursue having the hangar moved to Montgomery Field if possible.
Thank you, Ken. You rephrase that.
So the intended purpose at Hindenburg is aircraft storage, but no public access.
I don't really think it's aircraft storage. I think there's gonna storage, so maybe airfield stuff, but I don't think it's aircraft storage.
But it's gonna be used as a facility for them, not open to the public.
Correct.
So to me, the historic value of the building is such that if you can make it accessible so the public can enjoy it, you're doing some good work.
And just see it.
And,
Be able to drive by and look
and
at
to make use of it and have so. Basically, I'm saying, yes, I support this, but I'm giving the ammunition of why. I think public access to the historic building is an important factor of moving the building to here. So it can be enjoyed and used properly.
We all agree.
And also maybe we can just specify that it becomes a valid revenue generating asset.
You know, let's keep it really simple.
Yeah, you don't.
Because then we could get tangled up. So any more discussion on?
I would second.
Okay, with a second.
I had a question. Is there a potential for any private foundation grant funding to support this project?
Native.
Yeah, they're all.
It's all funded, that's already funded.
So
Yeah.
the move. Is the
They've got $12 million in their budget for a hangar. They've got more than enough money to do the entire project as far as rebuilding it, not just rebuilding it, but restoring it. It'll be like a brand new hangar as far as structurally and everything. It's gonna be.
And then since it's on Crown Air's leasehold, Crown Air would be responsible.
We'll see. One thing I would raise is, as a part of this having to go from a municipal entity to a municipal entity, it would have to come to the city. So I think the city would end up paying out of pocket for any environmental review activity that we would have to do. Because there's a CEQA process and NEPA process San Diego International did, which is completely separate from what we would have to do over here. So the city would have to pay for all that out of our enterprise fund.
We're not sure of that.
I wonder if we could get the money out of it.
It would give us the money out of the relocation funds.
Actually, when we
I think it would make it
first, they were trying to pay for all of it to build it in its place with all of those reviews. That was part of their budget.
That's what they
built.
I think we're making a project. All we want to do is recommend, let's go forward with the recommendation.
Yes.
And then let the mayor's office or whatever, the airport staff, attack the details that we can get past this sort of one. We take that minutes today.
Andres, but I'm writing things down.
Okay, oh, there you are. Are you hiding that line, Charlie? Okay, good. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so we will call for the vote. All in favor of this motion? Okay, all opposed? One opposition? Any abstentions? Okay. Motion passes. Okay, moving right along, we are on item number 7 now, if I'm not mistaken, that's informational items. I want to make sure you guys know that the DKA for Tri-Motors coming will be here tomorrow and through Sunday, October 12th through 15th. You get a ride in, and it's really cool. I really did a lot. Gosh. There you go, that's my information. Anybody else? Okay, we are moving on to staff reports. Take it away, Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have a couple of announcements to make. We actually have some recent reappointments. Mr. Reed, you're being reappointed to the Airports Advisory Committee. Mr. Gordon also, I believe you received an email. Mr. Long.
What's the city council line?
You happened yesterday, so.
I know,
Yeah.
it's still online.
Right. And Mr. Lee as well. And then we will have a new community member. His name is Dr. Donald Chick. I believe he will be attending at the next meeting. And I look forward to providing you with more information on him. As CHICK.
Oh,
Yep,
Representing which community?
it's Sierra Santa.
got it.
Okay, staffing changes, again, we're hiring for a program coordinator for airport programs to work with David. We're here, David Reed. And we are looking to hire those operations assistants. We are closing that position, I believe it's on Monday, so if you know anybody who may be interested in working with us, please let them know. Also, we did participate on the 92123 community celebration last month. There were a couple of staff members with us. It was a great celebration. A lot of people came by our booth, and Mayor Gloria and Councilmember Capillo also stopped by, and there was actually they were actually talking about it a little bit as well in front of everyone. So it was great. I don't want anyone to forget about the meeting on the 16th and the 18th. Anybody who is a lease holder, we're going to be talking about the zero emissions municipal policy, the change that is coming in San Diego. So if you lease from us, you received an email. If you did not receive an email, please contact us and we will be providing you with additional information.
Debbie, I got that email. You might want to send that out again with the this report meeting.
Okay.
Send that again.
Good news regarding the unleaded fuel tank that we're trying to, actually there's 2 items, right? The unleaded fuel tank project. So we're still working with ECP, that's Engineering Capital Projects. And the good news is with the 1,000-gallon fuel bowser, just today we moved forward a little bit more. So we are clear to move that through the internal procurement process. That is more expeditious than the one that we're looking into. So Mr. Reed has been giving that effort. So thank you so much for that. And so now, as soon as the Atagera gets approved, we will be looking to list it on FPO so that they can start selling unleaded fuel here at the airport. We talked about the Tri-Motor, so I'm not gonna, well, I mean, it's a full plane, I'll tell you that. I saw it, it's in the hangar over there. But we are looking to meet with the FAA for the Airport Capital Improvement Program. David and I just had a meeting about the projects that we're looking to do over the next 5 years. And we just need to talk to the FAA to see how open they are to giving us their bullets. And that's the update that I have for myself. Any questions? If not, I can do the rest of that. Okay. So, Charlie, the airport manager for Montgomery Gibbs, please go ahead.
All right, good afternoon, committee members. There are about
28,000 operations in September, a very busy month. The airport received a complete mow. We also did a complete airport sweep. The annual stormwater inspection was completed and passed that. The Caltrans airport inspection was completed and the airport master record was updated. And I was gonna mention the EAA Ford Tri-Motor, so go check it out. Again, it's the Thursday, the 12th through Sunday, October 15th. It'll be staged over at Crown Air's hangar, so pretty amazing plane. So that's all I have. If there's any questions.
Thank you, Charlie, although I did get all excited about seeing the asphalt machinery up there on Gibbs Drive, but then asked them what they would do, they just put it on Gibbs Drive.
Right now, then.
Get to work, be continued. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. I don't know, David, if you can provide a quick update on that construction project.
Yes, I actually just received today that the jock contract was approved. So we're gonna see what we can do to start fast tracking our mayoral action to issue the task order. So we're moving along.
And I want to comment that the sweeping has done a reasonable job of taking that much of the dense fog out of the taxiway, so it was a terrible condition. It's not, I think, particularly people walking down Glen Curtis Drive.
Good.
Thank you. So, do you know if Andy is online?
He should be.
Yeah, from
Andy, if you can hear us, I
Brownfield.
think you can unmute.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, Andy.
All righty. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm sorry I couldn't be up there today, but I'm here through the internet. But so we had 7,223 operations last month. That's up 6%. The mowing contractors moved down from Montgomery down to Brownfield, so they're currently conducting a mow down here at Brownfield. Monday, October 23rd, we will have statewide stripes out here, and they will be doing some refreshment of our the runway and taxiway markings. We will have some closures in effect on all the runways and taxiways from 5 o'clock in the morning till about 10 o'clock in the morning. 2 weeks ago, we had our annual RSAP meeting. The result of that was we had, for last year, there were 2 surface incidents, VPDs, and 1 incursion. Our actionable item was we put in a request to the FAA for a from the flight deck video. Currently, we have 1 project that's happening down here at the airport. It's the Brownfield Tower parking lot rehab. Hopefully that should be wrapping up in the next month or so. Also, we have a new employee down here. We hired a new GMW2, so we currently have 2. We now have 2 GMW2s down here where we once had 1. So our staffing is continuing to grow, and we will also, as Jorge had mentioned, we're going to be hiring some operations staff as well. That's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Andy.
Tom Ricotta has a question.
Oh, on the restriping stuff,
Yes.
that closure, they're only gonna close the area where they're striping at that time?
Exactly. Yeah, so it's just like normal, it's as needed. So we typically start with 26 right. We get all that done, and once we get off there, we reopen it, and then we move to the taxiways, and then 26 left, of course. Typically, we're able to finish pretty quickly on that. The paint dries very rapidly.
Sounds good.
Hey,
Okay, now let's go with Ms. Jennifer Pierce.
Everybody, okay, I'm gonna just give an update on some current major projects. We'll start at Brownfield. Our staff has rapid those changes and some of the uses from light industrial and research services to allow for phase 1 to be developed in 2 phases, so that project's continuing to move forward. The city obtained a judgment against the leasing for possession and doing a greater possession of the property to include all occupants of the site. We're continuing to work with the attorney's office with the city on that process. For Montgomery Gibbs, we have a draft lease that's been approved for San Diego Community College District that I had mentioned last time. Last meeting, we are processing the lease for council approval, which should happen this year, and the lease term will be 3 years, including 2 options to extend the term of the lease for 2 additional periods. We met with tenant Sorby for the Spiders hangar to discuss the terms of the new lease, and we are drafting a lease for a 9-year fixed term. Corporate Helicopters is working with DSD and process plan for the proposed development, scheduling a meeting to review the project status and to discuss changes that will affect the leasehold for Executive Air Park. Also working with EA Corporate Helicopters to amend the leases. Hangar electrical work for lot 8A is continuing. There are currently 3 tie downs available at City's lot 8A that will be used as temporary parking for aircraft displaced for the electrical work in their hangars. And last item for Montgomery Gibbs is staff has drafted an MOU with Parks and Recs to lease a vacant parking lot at 9485 Air Drive. And this project will generate over $10,000 a month in rent, and with this pending the appraisal to move that forward. At the Montgomery Gibbs Business Park, staff is continuing to work with purchasing and contracting to release the RFP for services of the park management company. And we are working on negotiating new leases for existing office tenants. And on the retail center, we are negotiating new leases for existing customers for council approval this year. The lease terms range from 2 to 5 years with options to renew for 3 to 5 years class duration lease terms. And the timeline for city approvals, as I said, is full execution for the 5-year end. And I'm good. Any questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And that concludes our report.
Thank you very much, Director Rubio. We are now moving on to item 7B, the air traffic control report. Control is here because they are completely energetic. You went to the party. Yeah, and so anyway, I'd just like to say that they do a spectacular job with the staff they have. It's something we reached out to us because I heard on Saturday when one controller was controlling Brown, 2-8 left and 2-8 right, and somebody on 2-8 left started quizzing the controller about who is this, and just kept asking what her name was. Totally inappropriate, total waste of airspace, and they just said, please stick to the aim. Do not try to ask who these people are. If you want to get introduced to the tower, they'd be happy to give you a tour and introduce themselves in person, but not on the VHF radio when they're trying to dictate other traffic. So anyway, I just want to say that they are a spectacular team of people. Let's see, do we have any other reports?
Only the ones that are in the packet.
Okay, so we have comments. Fantastic. We are on item number 9, which is adjournment. Move to adjourn. Okay. Thank you very much.